Hello, how are y'all doing? Hopefully well. All right, so today I'm going to talk about us again. Me, I, that thing, right? That question of who am I? Because it is an important question. I'll say that forever. It is an important question. And I don't think it is one that we can fully answer even to our death. You know what I mean? We'll find out something, I believe, at death. And then, but as far as I keep coming back to Eastern philosophy, like the Tao and Zen, if you can name it, it's not it. If you can describe it, that's not it. It's meaning that it's so big and profound and unknowable, and that humbles us, should humble us, to allow us just to be okay with the fact that we're not going to know everything. But that doesn't stop us from looking, does it? So, what I've found that helps me kind of guide the question of who am I is looking at things like The Field by Lynn McTaggart. So the field being, if we were in the 1800s, it'd be the ether. For those who don't know, scientists nowadays, if you say that word ether, you'll get laughed out of the auditorium or wherever the talk's being held. And that's due to the Michelson and Morley, I believe, experiment in 1887, 89. So basically what they said was, all right, well, if there is this thing that's between everything, we should be able to detect it, which is a fair question. That's a fair statement. That's a fair hypothesis. But the problem was in 1887, 89, that they didn't have the high-tech technology to detect at such a minute scale. So effectively what their judgment was based off of, if you lick your finger and go outside, and if there's no breeze touching your finger, to allow your senses to gauge if there's anything. If there's nothing, then there's no ether. That's the basics of the technology that they used. So they were looking to detect an ether, and seeing as though that using the technology they had at the time, they didn't detect the ether. The conclusion was there was no ether. And so now our science, it's at least the science that's taught in school, what's called mainstream science, is based off of this is empty space. Material science, effectively. Democritus, I think his name was. I can never pronounce his name properly, but I believe material science, that kind of thing. Atoms are solid, and between atoms is empty space, that kind of thought process. But we are now learning that that's not the case, that there is an ether or a field, the mind of God, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. So that's part one. And then part two is this gentleman here. I've talked about him a lot, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is doing the scientific work that people like Neville Goddard back in the 40s and 50s were talking about, which is that we are effectively, in Neville Goddard's perspective, is that our imagination is God. There is no God external to us. And when you look into the mystics, or if you look into esoteric religious scripts, or look at the scripts of religions through an esoteric lens, meaning that you're looking between the lines and seeing what they're saying, is that's what they were trying to teach us. Jesus was telling you that the kingdom of heaven is within you, right? I and my Father are one, right? So that's something that is being told to us. And then the secret societies are trying to keep that from us, as far as knowing how powerful we really are, and them keeping it from us is because of the dangers, which is a funny one, because if you look at who's keeping it from us, they're the ones who's creating the wars and who are doing human sacrifices and whatnot. So it's a bit silly when you really start to look into it. I'm not saying all secret societies are like that, but the ones that are in the ruling class, the ones that are in the entertainment industry and political stratosphere and all that. Because you just got to look at Pizzagate and Epstein files, and there you go. But getting back to it, so Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches us how the Neville Goddard idea works. So from a scientific point of view, Neville Goddard was saying your imagination is God. If you break down Yahweh Vauhe, that name of God, it basically is like Yah is the awareness, Vau, Yahweh. Oh, so the first Hey is your ability to detect or see something other than yourself. Vow is effectively like emotion. So it's like the emotion is what holds it together. The way that Neville puts it is basically the vow is versus. So when you put two things together in sport, so you got, well, now it's Argentina v Spain. So versus, but they're together. So that's what the V stands for. And then the last hey is the external environment, is the witness of what you've created. Anyway, that's the best way I can put it. It's, again, this is stuff that's so unknowable. Putting it into words is difficult. This gentleman here, by the way, so he has now taught us how to, well, why it does work through scientific technology, EEGs and brain scans and energy scans and all that kind of stuff. And then having witnessed and testimonies of people who've cured their own cancers, who cured blindness, who cured diabetes. The list goes on for him, for what he's been able to do for people. So let's talk about now, so what I've come to the conclusion of, as far as, well, if my imagination, if I am effectively God experiencing itself, the reason why, I heard something cool last night about why would God do this, if that makes sense. Why would this God, God is, I'm using it as a phrase for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? So why would this ultimate thing do this, right? Well, if you think about it, if it is this all-encompassing everything, then it can't have an imagination because it knows everything. It can't, how can it create something that it's already created, if that makes sense? All possibilities are known to this thing. So it can't experience anything because it experiences everything. So the best way for this thing to experience is to dilute itself to experience the all experience. I hope that works for you. I hope that makes sense. And now, for me, how I judge how this kind of would come about, how could God experience itself? Well, to me, I would already have to have the information. So this is how me being God, or you being God, or us being God would work. How could I know what a strawberry tastes like if I don't already have in me at some level the taste of a strawberry? How would I know what a banana tastes like if I didn't already have in me the taste of a strawberry? How would I know what garlic smells like if I didn't already have what garlic smells like in me at some level? How would I know what a cat's fur feels like if I don't already have in me the feeling of cat's fur? Do you see where I'm going with this? At some level, we have all the information in us and we're experiencing it. It doesn't make sense to me that you could taste strawberry if, you know what I mean? If it was a literal foreign object, you couldn't taste anything because you don't have the ability to taste it, right? Now, of course, material science would say, well, that's your brain. That's still fucking cool. How does your brain know what strawberry tastes like? How does a sperm and an egg have in it already what a strawberry tastes like, or garlic smells like, or feces, or, you know what I mean? Like, how does it already know all of this? And then sight, how does it already know what a tree looks like? How does it already know? Now, of course, we give words to this, which kind of does the separation. This is part of the Tao and Buddhist perspective, where you take away the words and then you get back to the natural way of life, where you realize, well, we are all one. What did I just say? You have to know it. You have to have the information already to know what a bird sounds, right? So take away the words. But we've now given words, which is good. I'll say this: words help. Of course they do, and words are powerful. Of course they are. Spelling, Hollywood, right? I won't get into that bit, but that's, to me, getting back to it. That's how cool we are. I'm gonna have to stop here because it's, again, 12 minutes, and I hate going past 10. I hope this has helped at some level. Please do think about this kind of thing, because if you keep allowing other people to think for you and accept what they're telling you, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and fucking Trump and Zelensky and all these fucking people, you know what I mean? And then the frustrating part now is with AI. I don't even want to deal with social media anymore because everything's fake. Yesterday, this AI thing said was of this cool scientist that I found, and he is a real dude, but they've used him in an AI perspective, in an AI created video, saying that Pope Francis, who's already died, first off, but anyway, said that canceling Christianity and they're creating a one world religion. And of course, at first you're like, okay, I trust this guy. But I had to do the deep dive. And I was like, okay, I thought so. This is bullshit. Look into the comments. Everyone's like, I thought fucking Pope Francis died. Exactly. So do the thoughts for yourself. Don't let anyone else think, especially about who you are. So don't even take what I'm saying as gospel. I'm just telling you what I've learned, what I feel about things. Anyway, I love you all very much. Let's be good people. Some shit's fucking going down at the moment, and it is actually going to turn out okay, I promise. We just have to go through this really troubling period of collapse. The society and the world that we knew is collapsing because it doesn't work, and it's up to us to create a new one. And with these questions, this is how we create the new one. Love you. Peace.